it was a Lamborghini. Of both the past and the future. Since 1963, the plant has turned out only a relative handful of cars, each one, in its own way, a work of art. And so now they're going for it, building Murcielago Roadsters. So if ever there was a Lambo to follow through assembly, it would be this car. And with all of the leather, the forged engine parts, the hand-built body, the chassis, and the rest of the supplies fully in stock. And now, even a decade after his passing, it's amazing what a farmer and a few stolen tractors have built. So here, the shop is about to enter its 5th decade of handcrafting some of the most incredible supercars in the world. From start to finish, from rear to front, it all comes together here, in a place that is part science lab, part sewing shop, part engine factory, but of course, 100% Lamborghini. At times, it might seem that it's all about machines in this high-tech workshop, but of course, what it's really about is people. Everyone here is both highly trained and highly motivated. And while certain areas require an assembly line of workers, there's nothing assembly line about the product, with only a handful of Lambos coming out of this shop each and every year, identifiable as trademarks. A glance in one direction, there are those famous scissor doors from a Lambo. Not far from there, vents are fitted and put into position for the next big step. Elsewhere on the premises, work continues on a front bumper, a $14,000 piece of carbon fiber. Yards away, nearby, it's craftsmanship of another sort, with the construction of carbon fiber parts, handmade pieces that need to be both lightweight and strong. With carbon fiber being used for so much of this car, we're reminded that it has become the new tool in this modern age of supercars. In fact, it's also an application that is put on one of the arch rivals of the Lamborghini. Back with the build, we return to our wheel assembly. Spindle by spindle and rotor by rotor, the project is clearly coming together. A car this powerful is going to need some pretty sizable brakes, and the braking system includes ABS and 4 ventilated discs. And once there's a quartet, we'll be one step nearer to creating permanent all-wheel drive, moving along one high-tech and state-of-the-art Murcielago Roadster. The interior of this Roadster is both extreme and exclusive, with the leather upholstery going for an asymmetrical look, a modern appearance where the left seat will be different from the right. Everything will be accessible to the driver, with the factory employing a design known as pilot-oriented, meaning if you're in the driver's seat, you're in a very cool and precise kind of cockpit. Meanwhile, back at the carbon fiber room, the crew prepares the center console for the next major step, a procedure that also requires many yards of batting. The console has been covered with resin and layers of carbon fiber, but it will take a couple more important steps to make the piece solid. Now comes the vacuum fitting, where all of the air will be removed from the atmosphere surrounding the console. The absorbent batting will take care of the excess resin, and the lack of air will force the layers of carbon fiber to bond together. Once the vacuum fitting has sealed the deal, it's onto a stage that is about as big as it looks. We head into a monster of a tank known as the autoclave. The autoclave is both extreme heat and high compression, a chamber that basically cures the fiber surface. It's a don't try this at home procedure that moves us one step closer to a completed Murcielago Roadster. And Lamborghini specialties such as the torque and the horsepower. To nobody's surprise, the test was a complete success. And now, it's time to introduce this engine to its new home. Returning to Italy and the construction of our Murcielago Roadster, this V12 costs $85,000 and weighs 1,200 pounds. It will hit 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds with a top speed of over 200 miles per hour. The more we learn about it, the more we understand why there are quite a few around here who feel that when it comes to this car, the engine is everything. Because it's a roadster, this car is going to need some extra support. So in comes a custom-designed carbon fiber engine cage. It's all custom, from this $2,000 windshield to this unique engine cover. Designer Luc Donkervolke didn't merely want to remake the coupe into a roadster, he wanted to rethink the car to give it its own personality. The engine cover proved to be one of the biggest design challenges for this open car. With counterbalancing weights and state-of-the-art hydraulics, those signature scissor doors remind us that they weren't designed that way for fun. With the doors being so long, the upward swing is something you want when you park next to someone and you'd like to get out. With the car getting closer to completion, it needs to get around a little easier. So temporary tires are put on, saving 4 places for a soon-to-arrive set of wheels. The people around here clearly take a lot of pride in their hard work, and they know they have stiff competition when it comes to this high-stakes, high-priced world of Europeans. Without altering the extreme features of the car, this ride will have the option of mounting a soft rooftop. But like all supercars of this kind, it'll be designed for temporary use only. For example, when it's raining. And one more thing, that softie isn't recommended if you plan on hitting 100. More testing. This time, steering and wheel alignment.
Okay.
The rims are aluminum alloy with dimensions of 8.5 inches at the front and 13 inches at the rear. This roadster will have permanent 4-wheel drive with independent front and rear double wishbone suspension and self-adjusting shock absorbers. If you want something with more than the standard 6-speed gearbox, for a mere $10,000 extra, you can get an E-Gear with its Formula One inspired paddle shifter. Since this car is checking out fully and in every way, it's almost time to take it into the dyno booth for a thorough and final testing. It's said that the new Lamborghini era started in 2001 with the Murcielago Coupe, continuing on with the arrival of this new Murcielago Roadster. And speaking of an arrival, as the gang back in California gets ready to have their running of the bulls, they're not fully prepared for a little surprise that Lamborghini has waiting just for them. So finally, this bull is getting ready to rage. But before the big event, it's gonna need to get branded. So, as the running of the bulls begins in a place far, far away, back in Italy, Valentino Balboni takes off.